Hi guys. Alright, today we're gonna totally unfuck your boundaries. Because I love you way too much to let this behavior continue, okay? And I'm not criticizing other coaches because it's not my intention, okay? But the blind cannot lead the blind and go into a ditch. Yeah? Alright. So today what we're going to be talking about is why using everyone as you pushed out should not be your excuse to enable behavior. Okay? This is a big topic because it's what everybody does, tends to do when they figure out that everything is yourself. Okay? And that's a huge problem for me because you're forgetting that the source image is the one that's on display outside of you. And as such, you are responsible for catching yourself in the act, okay? Not allowing yourself to be a victim to your creation, okay? You did not agree to die, okay? And that means to live a temporary mortal existence, to be victim to your creation. That is not what we came here to do, okay? So let's talk about unfucking your boundaries, and I mean this sincerely. Yeah. Okay. So what are some ways that your wounds, okay, are actually deciding for you? What is it that you're doing? All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about our existential kink. Please read that book if you haven't. And we're going to integrate the concept of you seeking yourself and how you are seeking yourself unconsciously at first. And so what you're doing is completely innocent, but once you become aware of your behavior, the tendency to want to beat yourself up for what you've done, feel guilty, feel shame, all of that, that's perfectly normal. That is what the ego uses to get you. Yeah? Okay? It's what the ego uses to get you. Right? This is why your ego is your greatest obstacle towards the understanding of yourself. Because until you reach the light of your understanding, your darkness, you are the veil, baby. And you are blinded by the effects that you have made because you are first cause. Okay? So a lot of times I tell you that you mirror behavior to match, and that is accurate. Okay? But there's a paradox here. And I want you to understand the paradox, okay? The reason that I am not seeking external validation, I am not seeking myself outside ever, is because I have understood that the only thing this is like a shell. It's an avatar. It's like you're about to play a video game and you need to choose your avatar so that you can play in the game. Yes? A similar concept would be when you're dreaming. And some of you have woken up in your dream, and this is perhaps the most important step in your evolution, when you wake up inside your dream, okay? Insidious style, like the movie. If you haven't watched Insidious, it's very deep, and it's about waking up in the dream, all right? So if you've ever woken up in your dream and you are sure that you are dreaming while you're dreaming and you know it and you just know you haven't woke up yet but you're still watching the dream, have you noticed that the characters, you are watching the characters at that point? And even though there's this little character that's pretending to be you inside your illusion, you're able to absorb it, right? You're watching it. So you're technically not that character that you're watching. When you wake up, yes? You really understand it, right? But if you're able to wake up in the dream, you realize there's an aspect of yourself that is watching yourself. Yes? Okay. That's what this world is. Okay? There's nothing, 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 nothing outside of you. I can't stress that enough. It's nothing. And nothing makes perfect sense when you understand it. I swear. Okay? Your eyes are designed very special. Okay? But they're actually not the ones doing the seeing. Okay? Your brain does all the seeing for you. Your brain recreates all the images, and what's on display is yourself, your true self, your mind. You cannot experience or have the experience of playing in the mortal life video game until you pretend to have an avatar. Otherwise, you can't play in the game. This is not who you are. This is the avatar that you're using to experience yourself. Your eyes are designed to show you yourself. So, when you grow up as a child, and you could grow up in a healthy environment and still have wounds, or you can grow up like I did in a not so healthy environment and still obviously have wounds, right? So what happens is you seek yourself. So for example, if you were always told to shut up and put up, and children are seen, not heard, and blah, 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 blah. In a way, this is the most common old parenting style that we have, and it's the most familiar to you, right? So what happens is you might be attracted to someone who dominates you sexually, physically, right? Why is that, baby? Why? Think for a second, okay? If as a child you were told to shut up and put up, and that has become your normal, the second someone does that, that is you. So you fall for that. Do you understand? Unconsciously, you are like the fish who doesn't realize it's in water, and so you are seeking the waters you are familiar with. Everyone is innocently doing this. I told you everyone is seeking themselves. Okay? So, once you understand that, you wake up. But the whole reason that you have designed this whole thing was so you can develop a relationship with yourself. The relationship with yourself is then mastered and demonstrated by the 3D and the way it shows up. So for example, if you're attracted to a narcissist, it would be because you want to learn how to enforce your boundaries. And so you will be in that situation until you learn how to enforce your boundaries. If you don't learn how to enforce your boundaries, you are going to be a victim over and over again to the very thing you came to fix. And I promise you, it will repeat over and over and over again. It'll be the same face, yours, inside everything you're attracted to. So it would appear different. It'll look like a different guy. It'll look like a different guy. It'll look like a different guy. And yet, or girl, and yet they will all behave the exact same way that you are accustomed to, because the only common denominator is you. There is no other. The relationship with yourself is what's on display. Yes? Okay. So, once you become aware, and once you understand Neville, once you realize your source, once you become all of this, the tendency for you to beat yourself up is going to be there. This is by design. I don't know why people don't tell you this, but they should. I do. I'll tell you it in a heartbeat. The reason is, okay, the way your ego works, it gets you to blame others for what you created so that you won't look at what you created as being yourself. And so as long as you can blame the external world, you won't look at the only reason, yourself, for its existence. Right? It's so much easier to say, they did this to me, than it is, I did this to me. But if you take this understanding, if you take time to learn, if you take all of this knowledge, then where does the guilt go? Naturally, you would place it on yourself since there is nowhere for it to go. This is normal. That's not what you're supposed to do. Okay? Taking radical responsibility for yourself, okay, is not about blame. It's about understanding the design, understanding that you are seeking yourself. And this is going to be an evolution, a long evolution until you stop seeking yourself, until you realize you're the constant. You see, what I do, I teach you how to have source perspective. And if you are not having yourself as source, I don't make sense. You see, I know that I am God. Oh my God, I know that I'm God. Okay? As are everything else, because there is nothing else. You see, I understand this from experience because I have realized I'm the constant. I cannot outrun myself. I attempted it a lot and realized that no matter where I went, no matter where in the world I would go, I would always be the common denominator. As such, you reach a point where you stop running and you start choosing yourself. Okay? That means understanding how to love yourself, because if you don't know how to love yourself, you are going to make the same unhealthy choices. And that's not going to help you. It's not going to get you anywhere. You see, for me, okay, and I'm not making this up, and I'm not trying to sound condescending, and I'm not trying to be a bitch, and I'm not trying to be mean, okay? For me, it does not matter who I choose. I can choose a man or a woman. I can choose a narcissist. I can choose an introvert. I could even choose a married man. I'm not going to, but I could. And he would fall to his knees. Why? Because I am in love with everything I am, to the degree that I've realized that the whole thing is me. So there is no other source. What I teach you how to do is to become the universe inside your person. I teach you how to be the woman or the man in their head. I teach you how to appear everywhere in such a way that it is impossible for them not to know that you are their person. And yes, that is possible only when you accept yourself as the source of your entire creation. So today in class, our little mini class, our question class that we have every day, I asked you, what is Christ? Not who is Christ, what is Christ? And the reason I did that is because I needed you to understand it beyond Neville. I needed you to understand it as beyond my imagination. I needed you to understand it beyond all of that. I needed you to understand it beyond a man that you've made a God outside of you, because that's not it. All right? Christ is a universal idea, okay? Coming from the Greek word meaning Christos. I probably didn't say it like a Greek person, okay? But Christos means anointed or enlightened one. One. Not two. One. Okay? Because the minute that you understand how the one expresses as the many, you are officially enlightened. You are the Christ. You are embodying the Christ. This is universally true. To the degree that you can accept being everything at once, and to the degree that you can accept that you are the source of everything that you are, you now have Christ consciousness. As such, you are not seeking yourself out there. I do not seek someone's love, and I do not seek to give love at all, okay? Without first making sure that what I need is taken care of. That I am fully embracing everything I am. The dark side that nobody talks about loving is all of your shadow experiences, all the things that you've rejected about yourself. And you got to love those too. Otherwise, your ego gets to use you like a punching bag, gets to trigger you, gets to put in front of you different versions of you that you are going to think that you're rejecting or accepting, right? So there's going to be all kinds of things that they can use against you because you have not accepted yourself as you are. The second part of the equation is we do not chase and we do not overcompensate ever, okay? If I can't get this through your head, I will stop working with you because I don't need your money. If you're not going to listen to me, I don't need your money. Please keep it. That's not why I earn my keep. And the most important thing I need you to understand is you are it, not out there. What you will be on the receiving end of, your mastery, if the relationship with yourself is good, will be a man or a woman who loves you the way that you should be loving yourself. They will not put another woman before you or a man. They will not just want to use you for sex. They will not be in any way half invested. They will not love bomb you. Their love will not wane or go away. In fact, you could leave and they will love you the same. They will even say, God, no one compares to you. I can't live without you. You want to hear that kind of stuff? You have to be there for you. And then your reward is the displayed mirror outside. But if you sit there and you make excuses, oh, he doesn't get enough love, or, oh, he was just hurt as a child, or, oh, that's me out there, so I gotta be quite nice to me. What you're doing is using everyone as you pushed out as a cop-out. A full-on cop-out at that. You're not on to yourself yet. And there's no amount of convincing you I can do. You're going to have to realize this first. You got to see through your construct that you are making and that you are enabling. So you have to understand what your boundaries are, what your expectations are, how you want to be loved, understand how to love yourself. You got to take yourself out on dates. You got to enjoy your own company. And then most of all, you cannot sacrifice yourself, your joy, or your peace for another human being. Not how it works. Because that person is only going to mirror what you do to yourself. So if because I'm wounded and have an abandonment or rejection or betrayal or humiliation wound or injustice wound, seek out myself that way, those broken aspects of myself, that does not mean that I continue to do that. It does not. I do not enable bad behavior. I do not ignore bad behavior. I do not spiritually bypass bad behavior. This is not an option. I'm very clear. When I get in a relationship, I'm very clear. Here are the things that I expect. Here are the things that are going to work. If at any point you violate these things, I'm out the fuck. And I don't care if I'm crying as I go because I'm dying, because I think I'm going to die if you're not there. I don't give a fuck. I'm out the fuck. You cannot want what doesn't want you and expect a different result. If you start mirroring someone in an attempt to get them, you are still fucking up. You're not doing it right. Because it's not about out there. That's the hardest thing I will ever convince you of. It's the hardest thing I can get through this noggin right here. It's not out there. out there can only show you how you are being to yourself. So if you are not top priority because you think they need you more, you gave them permission to place you second. Can you understand that? You're not the priority because you said that they are. And as such, you will always be longing for what you are not giving yourself, and it will not be mirrored back to you. It can't be. Can you understand that? So you cannot use everyone as you pushed out as an excuse. In fact, if you dare to trust yourself and the love that you offer as something beautiful, as something great, as something of value, if you dare to honor the space next to you so that you don't just give it away, then what happens? The law of reverse effort takes over and the natural order takes its place. You see, the reason that whoever I choose loves me so hard, so hard, no matter who I choose, I promise you it doesn't matter who I choose. It doesn't, okay? The reason is because I'm not seeking myself out there. The only thing I have to do is recognize myself. So the insanity of saying affirmations like, he loves me, he needs me like the air he breathes, and all that stuff, I don't say those things. In fact, it irritates my demons when I hear it. Why? You know why? I didn't realize this. I made this realization today, and it was like, light bulb, right? I don't say these things because my mirror says it to me. Light bulb, my mirror says it to me. I already feel this way. I am being those words. I have no need to say those things because I'm being those things. So what are the things that I hear? You're my universe. I can't live without you. You're the air that I breathe. Baby, you can't leave me. You can't leave me. I need you. I love you. Can I take you out on a date? Ooh, you look hot today. Okay? And I hear that 24/7. I don't ask for it. I don't ask for it. Okay? And I hear that looking like this, okay? Hair's up in a mess, and like the curls are everywhere. I got sweatpants and jeans or whatever. I look crazy hot. Mess. That's when I hear, oh my God, you look beautiful. Not something you try to do. It's something that you are. You must embody. And you have to be about you first. It's not meant to be narcissistic and sound that way. I understand that, okay? It's not meant to be narcissistic, okay? It is in balance. But when you understand how to love you this way, this hard, you're only going to allow people who match this in. That's how you know 3D is checking you. But no amount of calling someone will make them call you. No amount of filling in what you want to hear for them is going to make them say it. You actually create absence. You create desire through your absence. Think about the insanity of this, okay? Just for a second. Have you ever met someone who is totally desperate for you and clings to you because that's their attachment style? I encounter a lot of those people in my lifetime. A lot. I've had stalkers like you would not believe. I have been running since I was an infant. Because since I was an infant, my being, my little avatar, got me in trouble. Okay? But what happens with someone that you're not interested in? Okay? When you're not interested, you do everything you can to get them to get interested in you. Have you noticed that this usually just repels the person even more? Repels the person even more. Okay? It's not attractive to want what doesn't want you, which is why it's so repelling. You don't get to use everyone as you pushed out as an excuse to keep up the behavior. You just don't do that, okay? Instead, even the narcissist will bow down if you mirror them back. But you're not mirroring them to get them. In fact, you could care less. Because a narcissist wouldn't even come close to touching you. It doesn't match your love for yourself. As such, you go, bad on my mind. So now, the law of reverse effort has the narcissist bending over backwards to get your attention. Why? Because you suddenly did to them what they have been doing to people all along. And suddenly they recognize themselves. And that's why they bow down. That's not why you do it. Okay? It's a paradox. I'm just telling you how it works. So, understand this. First, just become aware of your behaviors. If you have always chosen someone that's unavailable, you're trying to keep yourself safe. So you're afraid of the relationship, so you're not letting anyone in. So by consciously choosing someone who is unavailable, you are kept safe from the very thing you need to do, which is let someone in. If you are attaching to someone who doesn't want you and you follow them around like a sick puppy dog, and the more they reject you, the more they follow you, that is why you're learning the experience. It is serving you so that you can learn independence. You can learn to be happy on your own. No one says you're not going to want to talk to them, but at bare minimum, you're not going to chase them around like a sick puppy. It's unattractive. If you are extremely independent, you're going to have to do the scariest thing of all. Truly let someone in. You're going to have to learn how to do the opposite. And that's where you guys get confused, because you think, well, if it's me, why would I ignore myself? If it's you, that's why you do it. You must stop the behavior that is causing them to look this way. It's the effect of you, the first cause. You catching what I'm throwing down here, you guys? Many times I hear, but what about everybody as you pushed out? Like it's an excuse to enable shit. It drives me insane. And I tease y'all, but it does drive me a little bit insane. Because everyone as you pushed out will lead to your Christ consciousness, will lead you to discovering that you are source. And then the one and only affirmation that ever fucking mattered, I am one with God, I am one with everything, I am the fucking universe, will hit you like a ton of bricks. And you won't be able to unsee what you've seen. And the breakthrough would be like, and the angels will fall down from the sky, and the lights, and the joy and happiness, because you will stop seeking yourself outside. And the minute you stand still and recognize that this person is you, and you stop needing, wanting, and desiring what is not out there, and you start wanting, needing, and desiring your joy, your peace, your love, you will attract the very same thing that you are being, because it's a mirror. It's always been a mirror. It says it in Corinthians. Many of you don't like what I have to say because I bring the Bible into it. But see, I teach the Bible correctly. Okay? I teach it correctly. I promise. And it says you will only know yourself in part until you look upon the mirror, and then the whole thing will make sense. But until you understand what you are being, you cannot understand the effect of your behavior as first cause. That's why the mirror's up. God is very clever. That's you guys. You can't see yourself because you can't be divided. So you put on this costume, and then God agrees to be your mirror. That means the universe outside is your reflection. But to become the universe inside somebody in such a way that this is what's going to happen, okay? I want to describe my normal just so that you know where you're headed if you follow my advice, okay? This is what happens. Your person will say, I see your name everywhere. Oh my God, you're everywhere. You're inside every human being. Oh my God, look, you're on the TV. Look, you're there, you're there, you're there. I went to here and you were there too. And I see you everywhere. And there's no way they can deny that you are their person. Because you are literally the light inside of them. You become the woman in their head. And you're telepathically connected. And you enjoy the most beautiful relationship. But desire for you and this relationship will not happen until you behave like the one and only source that you are. It doesn't happen any other way. It never has, it never will. And so unfortunately, that requires making our unconscious patterns visible. This is uncomfortable. It's only temporary so. I promise it's only temporary. Okay? Gospel of Thomas, you're taught. If you start seeking, seek. Seek until you find. At first you will be uncomfortable. And then when you find what you are seeking, you will marvel. Oh, that's the big reveal, the angels part, where you're like, I'm me, I'm seeking me. Okay? And then you will rest in peace. That's where I'm at. I am peace. Okay? But you first have to become aware of this unconscious, uncomfortable thing where it might make you cry. It might hurt like nobody's business. Because you have to come to terms with the fact that you've been rejecting, humiliating, betraying, abandoning, and being unjust to yourself. You have to come to terms with that. And understandably so, it's going to hurt. And yet, that bitter pill is the medicine you need to stop the behavior so that everyone as you pushed out suddenly becomes the most beautiful thing in the world. Your superpower is that no one can be like you in your world. So that means you should not be jealous of another woman or a man. You should not feel insecure about what's out there. In fact, if you do you realize that that's what you create instantly? Other people? Or you jump into that experience because on some level you unconsciously believe you're not the one, so now you're in a situation where you're not the one? Being able to reverse engineer yourself back to source requires a deep, deep level of honesty. You don't have to be diving into shadows big time forever and for the rest of your life. And you don't have to keep making excuses for behavior that you have allowed. And you don't have to continue to uphold these things forever. And you should not go on an endless quest. But at bare minimum, you're going to have to take the bitter pill and accept where you're at to move beyond it. And many of you are going to say, there's no way I set this up for me on purpose. This was the most horrible thing in the world, or whatever you'll say. Well, guess what, you guys? We're the big guns. If you are in my group, okay, I'm teaching you Navy SEALs how to be source. No exceptions. Okay? How do Navy SEALs train? Well, I'll tell you. First way you get in, I'm going to tie up your hands and feet. Okay? Tie up your hands and feet, and I'm going to drop you into a deep pool. If you struggle, you will fail. If you keep your wits about you in perfect peace, you will use the momentum of the fall to bounce off the bottom and float to the top, hands and feet tied. You have just figured out how to survive. So we have Navy SEALs training going on in here. So I will not let you bypass your reality. I will not make excuses. I will not enable everyone as you pushed out for the sake of, this is my excuse to allow shit to happen to me. It's not how I operate. Because you guys want to know how to be the one, how to be source, and how to have source. Well, let me just tell you how that's done. Let's break down the elements of your reality. Yes? 3D, that is what happened to you. 3D, even if it was 30 seconds ago, is your past. It is what happened. 4D is the invisible spirit realm. Everything that is happening in your mind, how you're defining it, your story that is moving the carcass. This is behind your veil. 5D is not a place, it's not a location that you go to, it's nothing of the sort. It is the ability to look at 3D from source perspective, own it, see what you're doing, and be able to get out. But you understand it, therefore nothing changes but your understanding. And with that understanding, everything changes. Physically, it appears as nothing has changed. Mentally, however, your understanding of your experience has grown exponentially. And as such, you can own it. And rather than being a victim to it, you are now aware that you are its creator. And regardless of circumstances, you are able to overcome. This is where our unconditional happiness stems from. Because we are no longer working on destination happiness. When I get that guy or that girl, my life will be perfect. When I get that guy or that girl, that's when I'll be happy. When I get that job, that's when I'll be happy. When I get those designer boots, that's when I'll be happy. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Destination happiness occurs because of the dopamine. And your brain is designed this way. Your brain is designed to want more. Dopamine is not what drives desire, but what keeps you wanting more. So you must overcome how your brain is designed by not having destination happiness. As such, you must learn to be happy with what is so you can move past it. The cool thing about reality is this. Everything is temporary, and no matter what you are seeing, the opposite is also true. The opposite is also true. So when you start to spiral and you feel pain, your very first inclination should be to remember the opposite is also true. Whoops! I'm supposed to become aware of my train of thought. And as such, you can start detaching from these negative spirals. The truth is, you are learning how to detach, how to accept everything existing at once. And this is a science. This is a science. But you are learning how to be everything at once. Okay? When you can do that, you will be whoever you choose. They're everything. No matter what, hands down. Most of you ask, like, how do I get someone to obsess over me? Obsess over yourself first. Obsess over your healing. Obsess over your understanding of yourself. Obsess over your acceptance of yourself. Obsess over everything that happened. Make peace with all of those things. Stop getting mad at mommy and daddy for what they did if that's the issue. Okay? Stop getting mad at the ex for what they did if that's the issue. Stop doing all of these things. Instead, start thanking them. Start accepting yourself as creator. Accept your existential kink. You wanted these things to happen in order to discover these things. So you can't get mad at the characters that did an excellent job playing the role that they needed to play in your life for you to become aware of you being source. You can't unsee it once you see it. Okay? But if I was chasing destination happiness, let me see what Jessica's saying. The true feeling goes away, right? You got a new car, you're excited, a month later, the feeling is gone. Yes, Jessica, thank you. Absolutely. That is exactly what happens. That's your dopamine. In fact, that's the reason that you sabotage your desires. Did you know that? So the dopamine, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked, but I'll explain this. The dopamine is your desire to want more. And so you'll realize, because I've tried to fill the void with things myself. When I was in DC, that's what I did. I was a whole different type of person. I was all about the designer bags and this and that and all that crap. And God, I bought all kinds of useless things. Useless. All in an attempt to fill the void. And the novelty wore off the minute I had it or the minute I got used to it. And then I wanted something else. And I wanted something else. It's an endless trap. Because you got to learn how to work with the void. Okay? All right. So I digress. You guys, do not use everyone as you pushed out as your excuse to enable things. Do not be afraid to be yourself. No amount of self-sacrificing will get you your person. Have you ever noticed that when you're in this trap, the more you do, the less it's appreciated? That there's no amount of more you can give, and eventually you realize that you give, and suddenly you turn bitter. I did everything for you. You didn't appreciate shit. Blah, 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 blah. And all of that violent communication comes out, right? That's because that's not how it works. But if you care about you, if you really get to work on yourself in loving and accepting everything about yourself, and you're really unapologetic, okay? You'll be like my friend Coral, okay? My friend Coral, I'm gonna just tell it like it is. It is what it is. You want to accept it or not? She's unapologetic with herself. That's sexy. That is sexy. You want to be that. Unapologetically yourself. Just remember to be kind in your delivery, because even though you're unapologetically yourself, you're still talking to yourself. Okay? All right? But in either way, understand this, you guys. You need to learn how to accept being you and stop apologizing for it. But you also need to stop enabling the things that make you unhappy. Because if you start being all about you, you will soon find out how the mirror mirrors you. And love is love reflected. It's a huge breakthrough, because when you stop wanting what is out there, it suddenly wants you. Why? Because the void must be filled. So the reverse action will bring you where you want to be. So please stop using it as an excuse. Please instead start giving yourself the things that you need, so that you can receive. But don't do it because you want them. That's the paradox. Don't do it because I'm going to do all this work so I can get that person. That's the paradox. You don't want to start this journey for that reason. That's wrong. And although it will still lead you to where you want to go eventually, you're going to struggle against yourself because you are not out there. You are the source, and as such, the source is responsible for behaving the way they wish to be treated. It's imperative. It's imperative that we become aware of our behaviors, not enable them. It's imperative that we not chase. I saw this great TikTok about this two Indian gentlemen, and it was so cute. So it was the dad and the son. And the son says, I went out with this young lady and we had a great time, and I gave her my number last night, and I know that she's trying to call me, right? And so the dad says, so what's the problem? And he goes, well, I'm trying to convince her to call me. Clearly she had such a good time. I've got to get her to convince. And he goes, son, stop. Stop. You gave her number yesterday. Let her do the calling. It's about being classy, not creepy. And it was such a cute little TikTok video that is the absolute truth. It's about being classy, not creepy. It's about not being in their face all the time. It's about not chasing what doesn't want you. If it doesn't give you attention, it doesn't deserve your attention. You mirror this. And not because you're going to get them, but because you love you. The relationship with yourself is first. Always. Always. Whatever you've allowed and whatever you allow yourself to be unhappy with is what you are enabling. And as long as you do that, you will be second fiddle. Okay? In my course, the one that I'm about to start, you guys will understand what I mean by string along valley woman. And this is a triggering word for people because they're like, I don't want to be string along valley person, right? I don't want to be that. I don't like that word. I don't like that. Okay, it's not used to offend you. It's used so that you can see the difference between being the one or being the person who enables everything that makes her not the one. So however you want me to use this language, it is what it is. You're either going to be it or not. You cannot serve two masters. You either understand you are everything right now and you stop seeking out there, or you are subject to the world that leads you. And so the shit happens to you, or you're waiting for reality. Stop waiting for reality. Start being the reality. And you will soon find out how quickly it changes. I promise you this. I teach you something so different because I'm teaching you how to be God. That sounds crazy, right? But it's not even that I'm teaching you. I'm undoing the things that prevented you from realizing that you are the source of your reality. And so I'm not for everybody, because if you're not ready to take responsibility for the stuff that you have done, I don't make as much sense. You're not ready to own it. However, those that are ready to own it will have amazing breakthroughs. But you can't argue with me on the how. You can't say, yes, but let me make this exception. I already know how to be the one. I already know how to do that. It's the only world I've ever known. I know that sounds crazy, but thankfully my mama made sure that that was the case. And do you know why she did it and how she did it and what was her motivation? I'll tell you my history. I'll start with my grandmother. Okay? Quick story. My grandmother's second marriage was an abusive marriage. She grew up in that, watching that. And my mom swore on her life that she would, 1, never be that woman, 2, never let a child be that, and 3, she made sure that no matter what, was never in that position. And as such, my generation's wisdom has been imparted in me, and it started at the bottom. And we have worked our way up to here, where I am finally aware that I am source, and that I was my grandmother, and that I was my mother, and that I am my child, and that I am my grandchildren, and that their grandchildren's grandchildren are also me, and that there is no other, that it's the same soul looking at itself from different angles, that no matter who it is, whether it's my girl Janine, my love, or whether it's John here, whom I don't know, we are the same being. Okay? We are the same source. And that is your job, to end the division, to realize that you are everything. Because when you do, you become the universe inside your person, whoever you choose. Doesn't matter who you choose. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's not why you do it. It's what's always been true. But when you remove the obstacles you have towards being love, you can finally realize how you are love. In which case you stop seeking love because you just are. Yes? All right, so I'm going to try and read some of these comments. Janine, I love you. Okay. What does not hearing words of affirmation from a partner tell you? Okay. So it's not so much that you don't hear it. You will eventually hear it, but you got to start somewhere. At least you got to start embracing these feelings. Okay. The reason I don't tell myself this is because I don't like affirmations like that. I like decrees. Okay. I will say something once, and once it's done. That's it. If I have to say anything at all, I only say it once. Repeating like a parrot is from a place of lack. It makes no sense. I'm trying to convince myself of what is. Okay? So the difference between the affirmations and the decree is this. This is Cindy's way of trying to explain. Okay? All right. So 3D coaches begin the race like this. I will teach you how to run the whole race so you can win. So go ahead and let's do affirmations. Let's do this. Let's visualize. Let's do all this work so that I can run this race. Okay? Cindy's way is real simple. As source, I do this. Hey, baby, turn around. You already won the race. Just accept who you are. Turn around. You're at the finish line. The reason Cindy's way is so hard is because you have obstacles in your way helping you not see that you're already at the finish line. And so you go to other coaches to make you and help you win the race. You're more than welcome to do it. You'll end up at the same place. So I'm not putting down other coaches. Sometimes they're required for you to climb the mountain, but all I'm trying to tell you is you're already there. Just turn around and honor yourself. Then you will make smart choices. Then you will make smart choices. And then the love that you are seeking will love you back, because you're no longer seeking it, you became it. Okay? Let me see if I get any more comments here, and then let me see, Michael, I'm getting there. I'm at a point where I don't want her if it's just good. That's required. That's required. Okay? It's not about, listen, it's not because you want to be mean that you don't want them, okay? It's not because you're playing games. It's not because you're playing hard to get, okay? You are hard to get. You better be. You better be. The place next to you is a place of complete and total honor. Together, when you understand things the way that I do, your enlightenment occurs. Your enlightenment. Enlightenment happens because of love. It is the most beautiful experience in the world. There is no higher. That's the whole reason why you started seeking yourself, because you know that enlightenment through love is the most beautiful thing. It's the whole reason you started this journey. Okay? There are a lot of ways to become enlightened. You can meditate, you can yoga it, you can just simply fall in love. There are many ways. Okay? There's only one path that matters. There are many ways to get to it. There's only one path. So I want to clarify this, okay? I know everybody said this. No, there's a lot of paths. No. No. There are a lot of routes. There's only one direction you need to be going in. Yourself. Your understanding. Your healing. Your ability to love what you're seeing outside as yourself. You must recognize yourself in everything. How you get there, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Buddhist, whether you follow Neville Goddard, whether you hate religion and you're atheist, does not matter one little bit. Doesn't matter. Choose any path. Fall in love. You'll arrive at the same destination. Yourself. Or perhaps I shouldn't say there's not one path. There's only one destination. How you get there doesn't matter. Okay? Let me see if there's anybody else I'm missing here. What if I blame myself, not others? So I covered that, but I'll say that. If you blame yourself, not others, I made a video about the Holy Spirit's plan versus the ego's plan. Please watch that video. But as I said, this is a normal thing, right? Because the guilt has always been there. Remember, there's nothing scarier than your own demons within, okay? So the blame and the guilt is what you're trying to avoid, which is why you enter these experiences and ego tells you, go ahead and blame them. Once you find out about Neville, you return back to that. And now you're like, well, if I can't blame them, then naturally I can blame myself, okay? Stop feeling guilty for your evolution. Stop feeling guilty for what you came to experience. Everyone is innocent. You didn't know what you didn't know any more than whoever acted out in your reality for you didn't know. Okay? You have to stop running on autopilot. But you also can't get upset with yourself for running on autopilot, because everybody ran on autopilot. Everybody ran on autopilot. Me too. Okay? Me too. When I was younger, okay, remember I said the fish water that you know? When I was younger, I was only attracted to playboy types. Okay? I was seeking my father's energy in myself. Clearly it was me because I am my father. Okay? And even more twisted, I would enjoy breaking them. Kind of like punishing my dad. Twisted, right? Unconsciously. I wasn't like, now I can look at it and be like, oh, wow, I had a lot of growing up to do, right? But I can honestly tell you that I didn't know what I didn't know because it was the water I was familiar in. Okay? So please forgive yourself for what you didn't know, because everyone is innocent. And innocent they may be, you are still responsible for the experience and for mastering it and for getting to the other side. So it is not an excuse to unfuck your boundaries. The boundaries are required. It's a necessary part of the equation. Okay? Remember PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you do any math equation out of that order, you get the wrong answer. Love is exactly the same way. If I place my attention out there first in an effort to gain someone, I get the wrong answer. Always. And what will be reflected are the things that we're doing unconsciously to ourselves. Once you understand that, it's not about blame. It's very simply about accepting where you're at and doing the opposite. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. I know that. I never said it was easy. Okay? At first. But it's only uncomfortable like this. Do you remember when you learned how to ride a bike? Before you ever got on that bicycle, it was wobbly, you thought you'd never learn. It was uncomfortable, right? Now, it's second nature. Same thing with a car, right? When you were first learning how to drive a car, you were like, oh, I'll never get this. Oh my God. You know, you kind of did that, right? And now, do you ever think about how easy it is? Loving yourself this way is going to feel like that. Uncomfortable at first. But just like you learned how to drive a car or ride a bicycle, you will learn how to do this and make it comfortable. And then your reward will be what I have, which is pretty cool. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know what love was. I didn't. I do now. Thanks to realizing I'm the constant. And it's been an amazing journey. That's why I can talk on it. But I didn't know what it was until I mastered it. Okay? So, be patient with yourself. It's okay to take the pill. The bitter pill. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel guilty for a little while. Just don't dwell there. Don't apologize for your evolution. And start doing the opposite of what you've been doing. And then no matter what, I promise you, you'll be the one that's chased and pursued. That's loved and cherished. That's everything that you're seeking. Because it's not out there. All right, you guys? All right. Let me see if I missed any more comments. I think I'm good. Oh, Christine, I love you. You know why you feel that way when you tear up? You know why? Because when the truth resonates with you, you feel it in your spirit. And what that means is you are responsible for me standing up here. You're responsible for it. And so what I'm talking, oh, I can feel your heart now. Now I want to cry. Okay, you're responsible for this message. It wouldn't exist without you. Okay, so when you really resonate with what I'm saying, when you feel that deep in your heart, when it really, really drives home, it's because you were the reason that I did it. Because our shared experiences and the way that we overcame these things together, or the help that I provide because you're currently going through the very same experiences, right? And suddenly the light shined and the answer came that you've been looking for, and that's why it makes you want to cry. That's where that's coming from, you guys. The truth always resonates in your heart. It resonates with your heart a lot. That's how you know that someone's not lying, how it's absolutely genuine, how it's real, real, real. Because you feel it here. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys listening. And if I need to make another video on unfucking our boundaries, I will. But more than anything, pretty soon, I would like for us to meet once a week in our self-love course. And it's going to be called How to Be the One. How to be the one. Not how to act like the one, how to be the one. All right. Love you.